Marketing needed to be focused more on their desires and their wants versus their needs. What we learned the hard way after running T4E systems and growing that business is that our marketing didn't need to be focused on our deliverable, our app, or check-ins, customized nutrition, yada, yada, yada. Instead, it should have been focused on the wants and desires of our prospects. And that's really what allowed us to go to a multi-million-dollar online health coaching company. And so what we eventually learned is that the marketing worked better when we appealed to things like how we're going to help them lose weight without having to obsess, how to help them to become strong and confident in their clothes again, and how to be able to help them with things that other coaches couldn't. Their hormones, their labs, things that were causing them to stick and not get results with things that they've tried in the past, and why our way is going to be new, unique, and therefore better. Once we adjusted our marketing language to focus on what they truly cared about, signing clients became pretty easy. But it didn't just stop there. What we eventually did was learned the power of surveys, okay? Asking our clients what they actually wanted or didn't want. We built in a survey system where we consistently asked for feedback and we tracked what clients valued most, and we rapidly executed that feedback, which eventually led to us having extremely good retention, clients actually engaging in the program. We ended up getting a lot more referrals because people ultimately love that experience. So in this episode, I'm going to break down how to position your coaching program based on what clients actually want. Number two, how to use surveys to refine your offer and boost retention. Number three, that your front-end marketing is able to sign more clients effortlessly. By the end, you'll know exactly how to turn your coaching program into something that people, they don't just sign up for, but they rave about. Welcome back to the Fitness Podcast. Jordan here. Quick backstory before we jump into today's episode, which is how to use client surveys to rapidly improve your product and to also use that information to improve your marketing. But like I said, quick backstory. When Erin and I launched T4E Systems, this industry in this space was still relatively new. This was back in 2017. In fact, she launched her business in 2013, which was like brand new, right? In terms of it being not a very sophisticated market. So it didn't require a lot of like really unique marketing strategies because it was so new, right? So, but when we launched, we focused on what we thought would make our program most appealing to be able to get clients. In other words, like what we thought was most valuable. So a lot of our marketing was around our custom coaching app, right? It was super sleek and look at all these features. Or it was the fact that we did weekly personalized check-ins, or because we thought that custom nutrition was everything, right? Or our open office hour calls where clients could hop on and ask us anything. And don't get me wrong, these things are important and useful features, but we quickly learned two massive lessons that really changed a lot for us. So number one, we thought what mattered actually didn't, okay? So at first we assumed the clients, love the app, which they did, but we assumed that that would be what would cause them to buy, okay? But when we actually learned and asked them, we found out that most clients barely even really cared about those things. Hardly anybody actually showed up to our open office hours. And the reality was the lesson two was that our marketing needed to be focused more on their desires and their wants versus their needs, like our deliverables. What we learned the hard way after running T4E systems and growing that business is that our marketing didn't need to be focused on our deliverables, right? Our app, or check-ins, customized nutrition, yada, yada, yada. Instead, it should have been focused on the wants and desires of our prospects. And that's really what allowed us to go to, a multi-million-dollar online health coaching company. And so what we eventually learned is that the marketing worked better when we appealed to things like how we're going to help them lose weight without having to obsess over every macro, or how to help them to become strong and confident in their clothes again, and how to be able to help them with things that other coaches couldn't, their hormones, their labs, things that were causing them to stick and not get results with things that they've tried in the past, and why our way is going to be new, unique, and therefore better. So once we adjusted our marketing language to focus on what they truly cared about, signing clients became pretty easy. But it didn't just stop there. What we eventually did was learned the power of surveys, okay? Asking our clients what they actually wanted or didn't want. So what we did is we built in a survey system where we consistently asked for feedback and we tracked what clients valued most, and we rapidly executed that feedback, which eventually led to us having extremely good retention, clients actually engaging in the program, and we ended up getting a lot more referrals because people ultimately love that experience. So in this episode, I'm going to break down how to position your coaching program based on what clients actually want, not just what they think, or not just what you think is cool. Number two, how to use surveys to refine your offer and boost retention, and how to make sure, number three, that your front-end marketing is able to sign more clients effortlessly. By the end, you'll know exactly how to turn your coaching program into something that people, they don't just sign up for, but they rave about. Okay, so let's jump in. Oh, by the way, PS, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're gonna get everything in one video, okay? So if you're listening to this on the Fitness Business Podcast, this is gonna be a two-part episode. So part one today, part two will drop on Monday, very next episode. In part two, I'm gonna actually give you 10 real things that you can do to your program to rapidly improve the process. And I'm not gonna recommend you do all 10, but these are things that we learned from surveys that we should do in our program, and things that we did that ultimately led to being able to generate more than $5 million in sales in that company. And we even had a $2 million year. And we had a 93% retention rate, which is unheard of. All right. So anyways, that said, number one, you want to think about your coaching program kind of like an iceberg. Okay. So let me ask you a question. When people look at your coaching program, do they see an iceberg? Meaning, do they see something that feels premium, clear, results driven, or do they just see another generic program that promises weight loss, confidence, energy, and all these things, but they're able to compare it to other things, right? And so when we think about an iceberg, above the surface, the tip that you see is what I like to call the perceived value. The promises that get people in the door, right? What's your promise? And I'll cover some examples of those in a second. But is it like losing X amount of weight in a certain time frame? Is it the ability to, therefore, by losing that weight, you'll feel confident in your clothes again, right? Like, what is it that you're actually promising them to be able to achieve with your program? Okay, because if there's not a promise, then it's really hard to get people to care about how you're going to get them to that promise, all right? So when you think about below the surface of this iceberg, that's the real value, what actually makes the transformation happen. You know, those are things like your check-in systems, right? Or the accountability that you provide, your mindset coaching, right? How you help your clients achieve self-sabotage, or the tools and education that you provide, right? Maybe there's a lot of cool stuff that you do with meal planning, stress management, sleep optimization. So what I want you to do, okay, action step, I want you to go through your program and ask yourself, are you selling things in the tip of the iceberg, but delivering an experience that makes clients feel like they're ultimately drowning? Okay. Or are you actually focused on like I said, the desires and the wants that should be in the tip, but then in the bottom, in the actual iceberg, it should be very, very compelling and valuable. Okay. So if you want to separate yourself and create an offer that your ideal client looks at and they think, look, this is the only thing for me, right? This makes me realize why everything else I've tried or all these other options that I'm seeing is not going to work, why this new way, your way, is new, unique, superior. And ultimately, they won't care what it costs, okay? Because otherwise, if you don't do this, you'll be a commodity, meaning the only thing that you have to compete on is price, okay? So you have to learn how to keep your marketing shallow. So what you need to learn is how to keep your marketing shallow and your processes deep. Your processes are how you deliver. Your marketing is actually the promises that you market to, okay? Sell the client what they want so that you can give them what they need. I heard a story from Alex Hormozy one time that really emphasizes this. All right, so there was a boy who really wanted a dog. And he wanted to prove to his dad that he was responsible enough to be able to take care of a dog. So he begged his dad. Finally, his dad gave in, got him a dog. He was super pumped. Oh man, I'm gonna take such good care of this dog. But then day one, the dog ended up getting ticks. He's like, man, my dad's gonna be so disappointed. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So he calls his grandma. He says, Grandma, you know, the dog dad got me now has ticks. Dad's gonna be so disappointed. What do I do? She goes, oh, don't worry, honey. Just give the dog a little bit of garlic. Garlic will make the ticks go away. He says, oh, easy enough. So he goes and tries to give this dog garlic. The dog refused to eat the garlic. So he's like, the hell? Calls his grandma. I'm trying to give the dog garlic. Dog's refusing. What do I do? She goes, oh, honey, you didn't just try to give the dog garlic, did you? He's like, well, yeah, that's what you told me to do. And she's like, no, you got to wrap it in a little bit of ham so that he'll eat the garlic, right? Think about that. Your marketing, we know that the garlic is the thing that the client needs in order to get results, but you've got to wrap those things in a little bit of ham, especially in fitness, because most of the things that we know clients need to do to get results aren't very appealing, right? You're going to have to do all these things that are going to, in the short term, make your life kind of suck. You're not going to be super pumped and happy about it. So how do we wrap that stuff in ham so that way we can give them the garlic and ultimately create a transformation and help people? But until we learn how to create our marketing in the right amount of garlic or the right amount of ham, nobody's ever going to buy. All right. So here's how to do this. And I'm going to reference a framework from Hormozy too that I really like to use when I'm explaining this, which is the value equation. All right. There are 4 steps to this value equation. The value equation is a simple process to allow you to increase the perceived value of how you talk about what you do, your marketing, so that way you can give them the real value, right? It's to market around the tip, just a tip of the iceberg, so that we can give them the body of the iceberg, the shit that's most important. That's number 1. What's the dream outcome that you're promising? That's your promise. Okay, this might be a good reel too. So your dream outcome, you don't want to just be like, hey, here's this 12-week transformation program. Boring, nobody cares. Only thing you'll be able to compete upon is price. Number 2, instead, position your offer as new, unique, and ultra specific, right? A cortisol reset blueprint for, overworked women in their 30s, right? Who want to get XYZ. Okay, so here are just some examples of bad dream outcomes to good. All right, here's a poor dream outcome, right? Get the body you've always wanted, or lose weight for good, or transform your life through fitness, or the last program you'll ever need. That's one that we used to say too. I'm not saying it's bad, but it can't be the whole thing. Or get healthy and fit, right? These are problematic because they don't speak to a specific pain point. Number 2, they make unrealistic promises. Number 3, they don't set clear expectations. Number 4, they attract everyone. And therefore, if you're trying to attract everyone, you're going to attract no one. Number 5, they're too hard to deliver on, right? Because they're undefined. They're not specific. So do this instead. A good example could be a 12-week program for busy professionals who want to lose 15 to 20 pounds while still enjoying business dinners and social events, right? So when you're thinking about this, there's like an evolution that has to take place. So I'm going to give you like bad to good. So an awful promise or dream outcome might be a 12-week transformation program. All right, not very good. A decent is like a 12-week body transformation program for busy professionals. All right, we're getting a little bit better. At least we're specific to a person, but there's still no problem we're solving, right? Better could be a 12-week nutrition and fitness program for busy professionals who want to lose 15 to 20 pounds without sacrificing their social life. All right, not bad, not bad. But here's an epic one. The executive solution, a 12-week program that helps busy professionals lose 15 to 20 pounds through strategic nutrition coaching and 3 45-minute workouts per week designed to fit your demanding schedule while still enjoying business dinners and family time, all right? Think about that. Now, this is speaking to the corporate exec who wants to, maybe drop a couple suit sizes in a specific time frame, and they don't have the time to spend all day in the gym. So your promise highlights that fact. Hey, you're not going to have to do that with the way that we do it. Okay. So number 2 of the value equation is increasing the likelihood of achievement. The best way to do this is number 1, through storytelling. You either telling your own story, your founder story, right? How did you lose this weight, right? Your ethos story. If your mess is now your message, meaning you're now helping people achieve the same outcome that you achieved, you should tell that story often, okay? Because that story is going to make people think, well, if they were able to do it, and I'm looking at this person now that I want to work with potentially, they've shown that they can do it for themselves. I feel like it's more likely that they can do it for me. All right. The other way to do this, which applies to everybody, and you don't have to have that in your coaching business, right? Your mess doesn't have to be your message. We have a lot of people in IFCA who are like, dudes who help moms, right? It doesn't matter, but what does matter is a good story. Why did you choose to help that market, right? What was the ethos story? Was it because your mom was overweight and you watched her struggle? So now that's become your life mission. Okay. But the second one, which are client case studies and stories, everybody should be doing often. Because people will think the more case studies and testimonials you share, the more likely they'll feel that it'll work for them. Now, most coaches share testimonials and case studies really, really wrong, okay? So most coaches are like, they'll just post like a random transformation and say, meet Sarah, she lost 15 pounds in 12 weeks and feels amazing, right? It's like, okay, cool. But nobody cares because there's no emotion, there's no relatability, there's no real story. The key to a powerful case study is simple, making it human. Your audience needs to see themselves in the story. So thinking about where the client was before they joined, what was the pain that they were experiencing in their life, not just their body, right? Okay, maybe they were overweight but like, how did that pain show up, right? Did that pain show up by hiding themselves in photos, okay? Or not feeling confident to wear a bikini at the pool, right? You need to be specific. And then ultimately, what did they gain after going through your program and getting the result that's beyond just the number on the scale? Or in our case, it could be revenue growth. All right, so I'm gonna give you an example. A great transformation story isn't just about the result, it's the result of the result. It's the deeper impact of those results. So a good example of this is my client, Jeff, a story that we've told that has gotten us so many other clients. We run ads to this case study and it crushes, okay? Jeff was a full-time teacher. He was making $4K a month, working crazy hours, just trying to grow his coaching business on the side. He had 2 kids and a wife, and he was stuck grinding with 0 time for his family. He even said, I know I can't keep doing this forever. He told us that. So in 2021, he made $12,000 in his business. Then in 2022, he hit $100,000, but still didn't feel confident enough to quit his job because he had no predictable lead flow, he had no automations, and no time freedom. He joined IFCA in 2023, and then we installed a predictable lead gen system. We automated his client delivery, and we built a scalable coaching offer, and everything changed. He went from $100K to $160,000 in just 90 days, and he quit his job. And then he hit his first 20K month working just 4 to 5 hours a day. But the real win, he now has the freedom to spend time with his family whenever he wants. See, I really took you through the story. The takeaway is when telling client success stories, don't just talk numbers, tell the real transformation. Where were they at before? How did the problem affect their life? What changed beyond the physical result? Because at the end of the day, people don't just want numbers, they want the life that those numbers will give them, okay? So the second way to increase likelihood of achievement is guarantees, right? Guarantees, I know they get a lot of flack and they are arguably a little bit overused these days after the Hormozy, trend that everybody's like, oh, do this or you don't pay. But look, they still work, okay? So I highly recommend having some sort of a guarantee, especially if you've worked with at least 20, 30 clients. You have enough data to now know, okay, what can I reasonably assume that most clients will be able to achieve if they just do X, Y, Z. Okay. And if you're not confident in that, that means we need to fix the program enough to be able to give you that confidence in order to offer a guarantee. So some examples of how to structure a guarantee. It might be, hey, we'll guarantee that you'll lose 5 pounds in just 30 days, or we'll keep coaching you for free until you do. Or lose 5 pounds in 30 days, or you don't pay or your money back, right? Whatever the case, have a good promise. And I really like a fast guarantee, like something to do with just the first 30 days. It's easy to measure, easy to control, and it's realistic because we know that most clients, if they're overweight, they should be able to lose 5 pounds in the first 30 days, realistically, as long as they do the things you tell them to do. Now, just make sure you have conditions that the client has to adhere to, right? That might mean, hey, you must complete 85% of your assigned workouts, you have to check in on time, and you have to adhere to 80% of your assigned nutrition targets. Easy, okay? Cool. Number 3, reduce effort and sacrifice. Or the easier you make your offer seem, the more people that will stick with it, okay? Both real and perceived. But I'm not saying be unrealistic, but what are some things that you can do that most of your clients fail because of that you can eliminate in your program? Okay, such as offering at-home workouts, meal prep strategies, or like done-for-you options, okay? Okay, some examples. Okay, maybe your ideal clients, they don't want to give up their favorite foods, okay? So you can say, hey, you get to still enjoy tacos, pizza, date nights without wrecking your progress. Or we'll teach you how to eat for fat loss without feeling restricted. Or you don't have to cook separate meals for you and your family. Right? No complicated meal plans, right? Just simple, friendly recipes that fit into your goals. Stop meal prepping for hours. Okay. You're going to get our plug and play meals that work for your lifestyle. Okay. Maybe they don't want to quit socializing or even drinking alcohol. Okay, cool. You're still gonna be able to go out with your friends, enjoy happy hour, and still hit your fat loss goals. Maybe they don't want to track every calorie. Okay, cool. Hate calorie counting. Our method works without logging every bite. Or you're going to be able to lose weight without obsessing over macros. Okay. That's it, right? So make it faster. This is the 4th one. People need wins early. Build quick wins in your first 7 days is going to allow that proof of concept, that buy-in to the client. They're going to gain momentum and you're going to be able to advertise those fast results. So maybe it's like, hey, lose your first 2 pounds in just week 1. Right? A good example are a lot of our clients use a flush system, which is like a 30-day rapid fat loss approach in the first 30 days. And then we shift to more of a sustainable like method, right? Flush is just like a rapid fat loss approach. It works really well. All right. So that's what I got for you guys in terms of pulling out real value. Okay. And remember the purpose of your marketing is to learn how to make your program better. The way to make your program better is to get clients in, to figure out what it needs, ask them what it needs, and then you can make those improvements. And that's what I'm going to talk about next, how to survey your clients in order to figure out how to make your program better. So the first survey I would recommend is just a post-sale. Okay, this post-sale survey goes out right away. It could be part of your onboarding form where you just ask, like, what made you join our program? Number 2, what specific results are you hoping to achieve? Number 3, what concerns did you have before joining? All 3 of those things can be huge for your marketing, okay? What was it that made them join? So you can do more of that. What were the specific results they hope to achieve? Where you can start to plug that into your promises. And then what concerns did they have, right? These are the objections that you can start to create content to overcome those objections with your messaging. Okay, number 2, survey number 2, this is after 30 days. What you want to do is ask, how was your onboarding experience, right? Audit the onboarding process because that's huge with client experience. What's been most helpful so far? What's been most challenging? And what additional support would help you succeed, all right? So that way you can get ahead of any issues within the first 30 days that might come up after 30 days. The 3rd one is a 90-day, okay? So this is the most important in my opinion. This is where you're gonna have certain categories where you're gonna learn how to improve those categories. Okay, category 1, community and connection. Huge factor in programs is people wanna feel like they're connected and like they have a sense of community. So you wanna ask, how connected do you feel to the program community, scale of 1 to 10? Number 2, what prevents you from engaging in more of the group chats? Give them options. Is it too busy, not interested? I prefer one-on-one coaching, etc. The second section is going to be program value. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to suggest this program to a friend? Now, if they answer a 7 and above, you should ask them for a referral, right? And if it's below a 7, you want to figure out how to get it above a 7. So you can ask, this is a really good one. What aspects of the programs are most valuable to you? With this, you're going to list out everything you do because it reminds them of everything they get and might not be using. And it's going to allow you to see like which parts of your program are the most useful that you can double down on. Okay, so you would just rank them in order. Is it the one-on-one coaching, the group calls, check-ins, just list everything out. All right, cool. Now it's going to be around content and education. What topics would you like more content on or more education on? Give them options. Is it meal prepping, balancing hormones, family friendly nutrition, etc. The next one is, how do you prefer to consume content? Is it live calls, PDF, videos, audio? Figure out what they like to do. And that's how you can create that internal exclusive content specific to them. And you can also, I really recommend having group calls, okay? But a lot of times it's a challenge to get them to show up. So this is where you can ask, like, what's stopping you from showing up on those group calls? And it's reminding them about these, right? So what time of day works best for you to hop on a live call? Is it mornings, lunch, evenings? How long should the group calls ideally last? 30, 45, 60? And then you just have like a final open-ended question, which is additional feedback, right? This is like open-ended. And you're just going to ask, what can make this program feel 10 times more valuable for you? Okay. And you can also ask, what is one thing that we could remove from the program without affecting the program's value? All right. So that's it for this episode, guys. If you want more value, or if you got value from this episode, here's what to do next. Number one, just take action, start surveying your clients, gathering feedback, and tweaking your program based on what they actually need, not just what you think they need. And leverage some of that post-sale survey messaging to push back into your marketing. Okay. Number two, share this episode. If you know another coach who might be struggling with retention or, marketing just kind of shitty, below the iceberg offers, send this to them, help them. It'll help them and it'll help us. Number three, leave a review. If this has helped you, let me know by dropping a quick rating and review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It takes like 2 minutes. Your feedback really, really helps for us to understand what we could keep doing better, if you're getting value, and to help us rank higher in the search. And don't forget, part 2 of this drops on Monday. In part 2, I'm going to share 10 ways we upgraded our coaching program that skyrocketed retention, referrals, and client results. With that, stay tuned. I'll see you on the next episode.